Swapan Dasgupta, the Trinamool Congress says that this is not an indictment of the government. It is not an indictment of the government. Some of the arguments made are that there is nothing to prove that there was any inaction. There may have been inaction, it could be errant police officials, but there's nothing to prove that the inaction was on the instructions of the Trinamool Congress government.
Well, Arnab, let's dissect what the Calcutta High Court has said today. The first thing it has blown apart the claim, the absolute insistence of Mamata Banerjee and various parts of the Trinamool Congress that there were no incidents of post-poll violence. It was living in a world of complete denial. At best, they said there were some few stray incidents. That theory has been demolished, number one. Number two, what has also been demolished is the fact that this police force which took place, which is there in West Bengal, it has also been established that that police force were mute spectators, including in a lot of cases where the High Court has established that in the rape cases or allegations of rape, there is not a single FIR. It's a horrific situation. Third, it's also been demonstrated, the High Court has also demolished the plea by Mamata Banerjee that between the declaration of results on May the 2nd till her swearing in a week later, the responsibility for law and order vested with the Election Commission. That has also been demolished by the High Court. And finally, what has also been demolished, but not by the High Court, but what has arisen as a consequence of the High Court judgment, is the complete silence of a certain section of civil society and the media, which were accessories to this political victimization, to this politics of vengeance, which was unleashed on the streets of West Bengal and the villages of West Bengal immediately after the declaration of results on May the 2nd. I question, today I look at the High Court verdict, High Court's orders, and then look at what was covered in the so-called print media, what was covered in the so-called leading Bangla channels. The answer was nothing. They were also in a world of denial. Was that intentional or was that accidental? That's for his posterity to judge. But I want you to note that the silence of the people who stood by and allowed this sort of political carnage to happen in West Bengal.
Well, Swapan Dasgupta, just a point to make here that I don't know about which channels you're talking about, but the number one channel in Bengal today is Republic Bangla, which pre and post the elections led from the front and on the ground in the coverage of the pre and post poll violence. My question to you is this. The contrary accusation has also been put against the BJP.
There are honorable
that
exceptions.
When it mattered, the BJP leaders, but when it mattered, there are, thank you, when it mattered, the BJP leaders sort of deserted its own people on the ground. And you are fully aware of the criticism that your party faced, that once the results were out on the 2nd of May, your workers from all over Bengal were being persecuted. They had nowhere to go. They were camping like refugees openly in the streets of Kolkata. And that for about a month, while you may be very active in the courts, you were not active on the ground. You did not provide the protection necessary for your own people.
I would say guilty as charged, because for the very simple reason that we neither had the muscle power to be able to stand up, say in South 24 Parganas, against the bulldozers which were unleashed by an MLA there, against members of a particular community, members of the Hindu community, who were uprooted from large parts of South 24 Parganas. We were not in a position to defend various people who at the dead of night had their houses ransacked, booth presidents, booth sabhapatis, mandal sabhapatis, ordinary active
You could have
workers,
gone there.
a doctor in
Your
markets in
workers,
the
your leaders could have stood and formed rings around the houses of people whose houses were being vandalized and workers who have been ransacked.
People went there.
You could have done much more. You can't say we wanted to, but we were incapable of doing so. I don't buy that argument.
No, nobody's saying that. I'm saying we failed to protect them. There's a difference between going there and protecting them. There's a difference. Yes, our people were there. We could not protect them because against the superior might backed by the complicity of the police. Yes, I say that. If that's a political failure, yes, I concede that's a political failure. But is it the job of a political party to become an army, a vigilante army? Is it the job of the ruling political party to take on the role of hoodlums? Is that their responsibility?
But why were the central forces not put out there?
If you think that is politics,
the citizen identified as a recipient of protection from the law and order forces of the state police is not giving in. Why did the central forces disappear? You still could have intervened.
I do not know. That is something which has to be, because after the results, it was for the administration to call out the people. And the administration did not do so. It's a failure of the administration. That is what the High Court order has said. This is why the High Court order has made it specifically pointed out that they do not trust the neutrality of the administration and the police to investigate these cases. That is why allegations of rape, murder and molestation of women have been given to the CBI. That is why other serious cases, there's a SIT comprising of 3 IPS officers and presided over by a retired Supreme Court judge that has been said. If that isn't an indictment of the Mamata Banerjee government, I don't know what is. That is why we are hopeful that there will be a impartial, honest inquiry into what took place. But we also want to be assured that it will take place in an atmosphere whereby people can make their depositions in an atmosphere which is not intimidatory, and there will not be retributive violence against those who actually depose before these teams.